sir. I don't think we can hear you on our microphone.
Tyler, are you gonna have that intern?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Everything Friday.
Great, thank you.
Didn't work, did it?
Are they ready?
Yes, sir.
Call this meeting to order. All right, call to order this special meeting, July 29, 2025, at 4 o'clock, for the purpose of the bylaws. Call to order, roll call, please.
David Leopold. Here. Tony Stallstead.
Here.
Joe Kaiser. Here. Susan Jett. Present. Ron Page. Here.
All right, if we could have a moment of silence. Okay, next we need approval for the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion on where to put it, to hold this meeting today for an hour, and so we can do more of them, because if we do this right, it's gonna take us long. And I don't wanna rush through it, I'd like to pick something, the first couple of pages, or the first page, and see how far we can go, please.
So we have a motion for a 1 hour time limit to this meeting by Susan Jett. Is there a second? Is there- Joe seconds the motion. Are there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Ron?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passes. It'll be 1 hour time limit. Meeting went at 5 o'clock. For now, we're open to property owner discussions. Please hold it to 3 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so, never mind. And so we have a motion by Ed Nebel to approve the agenda. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Ron seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, at this time, we'll have a property owner discussion. Please hold it to 3 minutes. Anyone? Okay. And we'll go into our reason for our meeting today is for bylaw updates with the attorneys are here present today via Zoom. Who do we have here today?
We have Andrew Dixon and Tyler Gillespie.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Andrew and Tyler. Can y'all hear me okay, Andrew and Tyler?
Can y'all hear?
Not well. That's, if you want to repeat what people say, that would be helpful, or maybe you could make a microphone difference, whatever works.
Let me see if moving the, y'all wanna speak and see.
Okay, how is this? Can you hear me now?
A lot better.
Okay. Good. All right, so where do we need to start here? We should ask the lawyers where we need to start on this.
He's asking me where you wanna start.
Okay, so let me just start by saying what we sent to Betsy, sent to the commissioners, is a non-exhaustive list of topics, of ideas to put into a comprehensive set of bylaws. This is definitely, or rules and regulations. This is not definitely
again. Looking over what you sent us, sections 1 and 2, we can put in, and section 3, that's pretty much covered under our rules and regulations, our bylaws, what we have under 2-152. And then the planning, zoning, and development, none of that really pertains to Cherokee Village, because we don't have a planning and zoning, any commercial developments or anything like that, so.
Yep, and that's good. Like I said, this list is gonna have some stuff they're gonna find non-applicable too.
Yes,
And
good.
to the extent that there's a rule they already have, like, we would just merge that rule into whatever comprehensive set of bylaws we're gonna do. It's not here yet, to do.
All right, Betsy.
So, just on that note, what you were saying, you know, we sent over already several things that we have already addressed, and the dock guidelines were one of those. We had lake rules that were changed in 2023 or 2024 that we've already adopted, golf rules, things like that. So is it beneficial for you to take those things and put in some kind of outline for us, and then let us start plugging in all the things that are missing? Because I think that what I heard you say was that you really needed to take what we wanted and then plug into that and then give us back a format. Is that what you said?
I think there's a need to find out, whether or not, I don't have copies, but, you
Well, in Tower, I do bear in mind, there's some things that I have that you don't have.
Yeah.
I'm here to help with,
yeah.
things that I don't do, but.
No worries.
And those things, Tyler, were the things that in the past 3.5 or 4 years since this new board of commissioners has been put into place, the things that came up that we had to address. Those were the urgent things that came up that we just had to address, employee things like that. So kind of going to what you had already said, those were the things that were the low fruit that we were able to grab a hold of. It's filling in all the blanks with all the other things. I also went to the office and I found some old stuff that we had put together. It goes back to it's all right, Susan, to the 70s, 80s. I think the most recent was 91. I didn't know if this would be beneficial, but it may be something that the commissioners would want to pass the book around in between these meetings and kind of look at it and figure out a section that they would like to work on. Would that be more beneficial for us to be productive in doing this?
Absolutely. That would be great to have those.
Okay.
Yep.
And this, I think, will fill in some blanks.
Beneficial. Same way.
I said, I think this will fill in some blanks. It's got some things in here that some of them we addressed, some of them we haven't. We're just ancient.
Yeah, it's really, I think our goal here is to put everything in just one place. It'll be a very good document. And we've drafted rules for y'all on an as-needed basis the past 3.5 years. So of course we include those rules as well, but we also do rules that we need that we don't have yet, or we could incorporate things that you're finding in the past as well. You know, we can entertain and
agendas to and how we publish it and making sure they're out on Fridays before the Monday meetings. I
Yeah,
agree.
and that's great. Yeah, we just put that in the bylaws. We say that we'll get them out by Friday. Monday meeting. Yeah.
Well, I just went through these pages and marked out stuff and had questions just from these pages and not in any order, but we can scrap, or at least I think it's what you've been saying, on page 2, section 4, planning and zoning. We just for starters, to do away with that all the way down to the page 3 is all city stuff. And, go down to page 5 where section 5 begins. Currently, all of those other pages are city business.
Well, there's one on here that says environmental and drainage standards, and with us having all of those runoffs around the lake, this would be a good place to continue to,
Is there
have some terminology about it.
and you reckon there's something that the city does that they would know that, or that it's, well, the water company might know. Okay, but yes,
It's more about people coming to us wanting us to clean them, wanting to purchase them, wanting to develop them, silt from them, drainage. That's the kind of issue that Mr. London's and McCullough famous is.
Yeah.
Is that drainage gets to clean now. So if we have some kind of ordinances or policies about how we address this kind of issues, this would be the place to do that.
Exactly.
New build. We were talking about new builds before, and when they clear out the land, how we had that too.
But the city put in the ordinance about them having to put up the fabric walls and silt walls, so I think really they got to address that under the new construction and clearing, which we really don't get involved with. It would just be about how we maintain or what we could.
if we could put that in with the water, with our lake stuff. I forgot what the number is.
Enforcement of penalties, I think that's a great one. But there's definitely some topics that probably just need some different meat to it. But, I'm not sure what terminals. Golf course, we have our 2023 rules and regulations that we adopted, so that would go in here.
On page 1, CDSID, finances and contracting, isn't it in our current setup that we must do business with banks that we do business with? And here it suggests, it suggests that we have more than one place to bank. I don't know if,
That is something that originally when SID was set up, it banked with one bank, and in all of its bylaws, all of its electionals, everything that we've seen, that one bank is the only bank that's ever been noted. Is that something that we have to stay with that bank? I know there's other banks in the area that would love to solicit our business, but we've always stayed with that same bank because everything is written with FNBC. Is that something we would look at and do differently? I mean, not that I think that at this point that we would be moving CDs and things like that, but we have no bonds that we're paying on, we don't have any debts or loans or anything like that.
it's just a nasty question that comes up on social media every once in a while. Nasty question.
Yeah, and that seems to, what I would probably do in these bylaws is identify whatever the bank you want to identify, but also to probably create some language giving the commissioners some flexibility to, for example, if we wanted to take out, certain CDs for the finance and finding solution to do that.
We purchased the CDs since I've been here, and that's all we've done. At the same thing.
So we just need to put some language right there that, I just, okay.
Lakes and marinas.
And the the page 5 golf courses, we've already got something in place for this just to substitute into these pages, I think. At least part of what, the way ours reads is very similar in places on this offering.
How is it just as we had, what maybe appears on this sheet that is not there, that may be good to have, or vice versa?
Yeah, I'm looking through this book and I don't really see anything. I mean, employees, vacation leave, golf courses, card issuance, split lots, swim passes, golf courses and lakes. So I think we've addressed a little bit of each one of those. This whole thing is just golf course. I have a question that, something we came across in we have an employee that retired, this month, after 49 years. And in his, employee file, there was a letter back from one of the commissioners that had drawn up, there wasn't a date on it, but it said that the employee had an option of opting in or opting out of having his salary information to be shared. And that is something that has come up with FOIA and things like that.
Yeah.
We
well,
wondered
that's-
why he had signed
that's
that.
hard to do. Yeah.
We wondered why he had signed that, or why there was a form like that made.
I think it's odd, but under that situation, and I really do believe advice without reading my statute, I know this for a fact. Salary information is voidable, it has to be disclosed for government employees, so regardless of who's signed under FOIA, that has to be disclosed.
Yeah.
If somebody can say their employees.
I want to say this commissioner was like an 89, so it would have been a long time ago. And who knows, that's the first time I've ever seen that he's a 49-year employee, so,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's awesome.
yeah. I'm happy.
The campgrounds are covered, I mean, a lot of this stuff we've done, and the language at swimming pools needs to be, it makes a lot of sense, but I wonder if it's good for our swimming pools. That was the one that stuck out to me. The campground one made a lot of sense, but the swimming pool one, one of the things, guests must be accompanied by the property owner.
No, we're past that.
Yeah, so that's, and I wonder if I skipped over anything else.
Well, we all remember in the last meeting, all we requested was for them to give us kind of an outline of what the bylaws would look like. So that's what this is.
Okay, so we need to go back to
It
the,
probably could just be 100 pages.
Yeah.
If I was just going on instinct and trying to, follow, and it's not a hard thing to do. But I don't know your unique way of
Arkansas Municipal League, gentlemen? Because what you provided looks very much like the procedural rules for municipal officials and guidelines that they would teach for the mayor and city council members.
Those municipal guidelines and procedures apply to municipalities, which are by
That's exactly what I just said, yes.
counties. The suburban improvement district is technically not a municipality, even though it's a government entity. So if there are good ideas in the municipal guidelines that we think we should see and take for city, totally do that. And in many cases, I think are being advisable.
Then it may be time for you to make sure that you've read Arkansas Code 2020, specifically Chapter 92, Suburban Improvement Districts, which talks about how they operate.
I've read that code very extensively since Representative said. And the bylaws here are meant to supplement the rules that govern you all. Because what I've learned with litigation is the suburban improvement law, the statute, is not all that clear in many areas. So I think where there is more gray, there is more litigation. That's just the truth. With bylaws, rules, and regulations that you impose upon yourself, you're eliminating some of that gray and creating more clarity. And so that's why we're recommending that we draft something. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And the activities we've already provided to you regarding the use of the lakes, the golf courses, and the campground seem to be more appropriate if you would please take a look at that. And I think this is why I asked for kind of additional information or infrastructure that would improve them.
Yes, yeah, of course, we're gonna include all that in there. Again, material in here, just to get ideas, to get words on paper, to the extent they don't apply, they don't apply.
what we got in place, so maybe I can help in that aspect and then agree to help in the others, but I didn't really see anything that they had given us that was looking crazy. Everything was really good and organized to me that I read. I mean, there was some things that I felt like we were maybe working with the city that we see it, but the way they have laid this out, and especially with a lot of the lake rule things, would make clarity where we have a lot of money situations and what we can do and can't do. For instance, in number 7 on page 8, says adopting rules of vessel type, size, horsepower, speed, protecting the water quality, shoreline integrity, and wildlife habitat. And we've gotten in a pickle over the last years with items that don't really jive with those what he's listed there. So I think that'd be a good area, and I'll mark that up. And then lake management authority, there's just tons of really good information that I think we can use. Some of them, like 3, I didn't think were. I think we can come back to the table with items that if we could develop, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know anything about the city stuff or the golf course that you guys have to tell me on that. I can agree with this. I think it'd be better if we had sections that were more geared to our knowledge.
Agreed.
Make a motion to put that into effect if we're going to continue on this down this path.
Well, today at a special meeting, can we make motions to do anything? Shouldn't.
Yeah, it's a meeting, so yes.
I would say we would adjourn our meeting and in 2 weeks when
Well,
we have
do
a
we-
regular meeting, vote whether or not we're gonna go.
So we don't need
We don't need a motion to keep.
We're just talking, and you're gonna send what we have, what we want to make a motion, but we're not gonna make a motion, is what you send what we've already done.
I have already provided them with everything.
So
Recently, and then as the years have gone through, they've gotten the lake stuff, they've gotten the dock stuff, the seawall stuff. Anything we've talked about in the last 3.5 years, he has a copy of. But until y'all vote to use them to do our bylaws, that next step's not gonna happen.
So that's what we need to do is make a motion if we want to continue having them look at all this. Are they also need to look at these other old files,
I can
send those, scan them and see if they can, if those apply to anything, yeah?
Yes.
So we're going to make a motion. So we continue.
Okay, the motion is that we send some more of what we've already given part of it, so they can start
new, any new committees coming in the future would have to go through, I'm sure we'll have that in the bylaws process to amend bylaws, just like we have ourselves. Is that correct?
But yes, that's correct.
So we have a motion.
Budgeted by that process.
So we
Did you have a motion on the floor?
not yet. Nobody can make a
Make
motion.
it, or-
I need someone to make a motion.
Go ahead, I already put your name on.
Let's make a motion to retain the attorneys and allow the attorneys to contact any of the commissioners that they deem appropriate as they evaluate different components that Betsy has already said, as well as they can contact the general manager for any additional information that is required. I repeat that.
And also, these other documents, she also send them these documents as well.
Okay, so
Or
we
if
got,
someone
we're
is saying,
gonna do that, but Ron made the motion, need a second.
need a second.
Second.
There's a second by Dave Eagle. Any more discussion on that? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? That's been five. All right, motion passes. Anything else?
Well, before the end of the week, I will scan over what I have in these two books, and then if there's anything additional, anything that I haven't sent to you, just let me know.
Okay,
And then
that's,
next week, if y'all want to take these up, I'll have it at the office and Dr. Chair.
okay.
Or you want me to scan each one of these when I scan them, y'all? Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right.
See how big of a file do you anticipate?
And all,
Make sure.
You tell them it was 7,500 pages.
can you see it?
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's really not. It's really not. It's not even full. Yeah, it's not bad.
See, from the,
And it's only 5 terabytes, so.
Do we need to decide which chapters we're going to start?
answer questions and we'll get the ball rolling on this.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
And
guys.
I would think that we would have to see what all they bring forth before we start giving it up, taking a look.
Say that one more time.
I would think we need to find out what their consent is first, and then we can start looking at it. Otherwise,
Did you hear my question? I said that we need to, where we need to start with, and Tony said, let me start with what we.
Well, that's what I would think for the next
Yeah.
meeting. Is probably going to have all of this put together and we'll be able to present something and
But
we lie in order.
when Betsy scans us, the laws, but it's gonna be no holiday item stuff? No.
No, that's all the old
This is
stuff.
the old stuff. There was all Cherokee Village stuff from
Okay,
the
so-
seventies, eighties, and nineties.
A long time ago, we had some discussion, and for a long time ago, we looked at chapter 1 of the Code of Regulations, general provisions, and I'm not gonna look down here. And we went through that because we needed someplace to start, and that's what part of this stuff is. So I wonder if y'all wanna look through this book of bylaws from this particular suburban improvement district and see which one jumps out at you as a priority that we need to do something about before some of the others.
When you talk about this book, that y'all have all signed?
Well, we all agree with those things.
Yeah.
What I'm asking is the Holiday Island stuff that we were gonna use as a jump in place. Do you have a full copy of that? Because I never printed a full copy of that.
I only printed off what Holiday Island stuff addressed what we were.
What we need to do, okay.
Yeah,
They
they
have
have
a huge book. So if y'all wanna go to their website and look at the index maybe, just, but it sounds like it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks till we make that. Sorry.
That's a good idea, except that some of their documentation truly looks more
Motion to adjourn.
Oh. We have anything else we can talk about? We're done?
That was it. You make the motion, you get
Sure,
it good.
okay, I would make that motion.
Susan makes a motion to adjourn, I will say.
Well, wait, before we do that, should we pick a two-week meeting for the, for them to update it, or do we need to wait for them to tell us how quickly they can?
Well, our next meeting is 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I would say in 3 weeks, we will push them to have our outline from what we sent them in 3 weeks.
So we don't need to have another special meeting, working meeting between now and, okay. Okay. I'll make that motion.
There it is. Susan Chen made a motion to adjourn, I have a second. Joe Kaiser, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.